Configuring Kismet with GPS support for our tactical Pineapple war driving case, this time on Hack 5. Hey everyone, Glitch here and welcome back to Hack 5. In the last few videos, we've been working on setting up a rugged Pineapple tactical case that you can set up anywhere to do Wi-Fi monitoring, whether that's for war driving or just capturing traffic or remote penetration testing. This case is capable of a heck of a lot. In the last video, we specifically talked about enabling and configuring GPSD, a software that takes multiple different types of GPS formats in and outputs GPS in a format that software like Kismet can use. Well, in this video, we're talking about setting up Kismet. Kismet is an awesome software that's been in development for over 20 years by Dragorn. Most people know it for its Wi-Fi monitoring capabilities, which we're going to be touching on in this video. However, it does everything from using software-defined radios. You can track planes via ADS-B. You can do frequency monitoring. There's so much it can do that we just can't possibly cover in this video. Kismet was running on an Intel i7 NUC in the Wi-Fi Cactus that Dark Matter built and has taken to many different DEF CONs. It's just such a capable broad spectrum monitoring software that I just had to touch on it. Now, my specific goal with Kismet and running on the Mark 7 is war driving. The full server of Kismet can run on the Mark 7. However, it does start to get choked up in certain situations due to it being such a capable software running on a relatively restricted CPU. However, Dragorn's been hard at work doing some really cool performance tweaks that should be rolled out before DEF CON. Right now, they're in the nightly builds. You can get them for Debian and Ubuntu and all these other different distros. However, we're still waiting for an O-package update on the Pineapple, so we're going to be using an older version today just to simplify the install process. It is possible to build from the GitHub source, but that's a bit out of scope for this video. My specific goals with Kismet for this project is to do war driving. There's a specific war driving mode, though we're going to touch on that next video, that strips everything down to just read in the SSIDs and ignore all the individual packets and everything, and attribute those to a log file that then can be uploaded to the likes of Wiggle or some other war driving website where you can visualize your data and so on. So without further ado, let's get started. I will say some prerequisites are to make sure that you are on Pineapple version 2.0, do an O-package update. This of course means you are connected to the internet and you've synced your time, always important. Okay, then we're going to do O-package, install Kismet, and Kismet capture Wi-Fi since we are working on Wi-Fi. There's a bunch of other different capture packages for, like I said, software-defined radios, but again, out of scope for this video. Now, one other thing you're going to want to do before you go through this video is make sure you watch last video where we set up the GPS. Kismet does have a built-in ability to monitor serial GPS devices over USB like the ones we have. However, it has to support NMEA standard strings. Well, this one doesn't. It supports binary data. And so we need GPSD to work as a translator, like we set up in our last video. Cool, now that we've got our packages installed, we need to go in and configure our actual Kismet client. So to do that, we're going to nano etc kismet kismet.conf. And really the only thing we're interested in here, while you can set up so many different things, you can set up your default USB devices, you know, what capture interfaces it's going to use, but we can set those up in the UI a little bit easier. Specifically, we want to go down to where the GPS configuration is. And as you can see here in the examples, you can absolutely set up a GPS serial device, TTY ACMO. Now, I tried doing that with my little GPS dongle here, and it said it doesn't support binary. It only supports NMEA. Rather, Kismet only supports NMEA, and this supports binary. So we need to use GPSD as a translator. So we're just going to go in here and set up GPS equals GPSD host, localhost, since it's running locally, 2947. Control X to save. Now we're going to start GPSD using device TTY ACM0. No errors, so that worked great. And now we just type Kismet. And it's going to do all this stuff. And we should see right here, GPS connected to GPSD on localhost with no errors. Keep in mind the Pineapple runs as root, and this is not the most secure way to run this. Now you can see HTTP server listening on 2501. So we're going to go up here and type in the Pineapple IP address But instead of our usual 1471, we're going to type in 2501. And that gets us our Kismet interface. Obviously, we have no data available in the table, and we don't have a GPS fix because my GPS is not sitting in the window. Okay, now that my GPS has a fix, you're going to see a blur instead of my coordinates because, yeah. Next thing, we want to go into data sources. Now, the cool thing is I actually have the 5 gigahertz module connected as well as the GPS using the USB hub I have linked down below. So that means we get a WLAN 3 as well as our usual 0 through 2. So I'm going to go in and enable source for WLAN 3, WLAN 2, and WLAN 1. You could also enable source WLAN 0, which is the management interface, but you have to go in and change some things or else it causes errors. So we're going to use 3 interfaces, which is fine. But that also means we get to monitor 5 gigahertz, and oh my gosh, that's a lot of MAC addresses I need to censor. Okay. And now if we go into channel coverage, we can see we have 5 gigahertz channel coverage as well as our 2.4 gigahertz channel coverage. And that's the basic Kismet setup. Like I said, we're not going to get too in-depth here because it's such a capable software. I just wanted to show you how to set it up on the Pineapple with GPS. In the next video, we're going to be sticking some magnets to our Pineapple case, putting it on a car or some other vehicle, maybe the ambulance we're sitting in, and go for a drive. We're also going to talk about how to configure the actual war driving mode and optimize it for avoiding certain channels that don't need to be scanned in the 5 gigahertz spectrum so that we can get optimal coverage. And we're going to upload a tracking list to Wiggle. So stay tuned for that. Make sure if you have any questions, go check the Kismet docs first because they are so comprehensive. There's an amazing amount of work that Dragon's done over the years. And like I said, we're looking forward to a really big update that has a lot of performance tweaks to optimize the Pineapple Mark 7 for something at the scale of DEF CON. Over 30,000 people with a heck of a lot of devices all crammed into one small space. It'll make any computer cry, but he's got some good updates coming that are going to really tweak the performance. So stay tuned for that as well. If you have any comments or questions about how this could be done better, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'll have the links to all of the products used to build this case in the description as well, and links to the Kismet docs and so on. Thank you all for watching. I've been Glitch. This has been Hack5. Glitch out.
Thanks for supporting Hack5. Find all our shows, community, and Pentest products at hack5.org.